This is a very, open-ended, this one. I don't even think I need a notepad for this. How is this course going to benefit an entrepreneur?
Okay, so there are a lot of problems that entrepreneurs face when they're starting out their business and across different stages of their business.
Okay, now I want you to be very, very specific so that I won't have to disturb you again and again. What specific problems that entrepreneur encounter?
So I'll start with the journey of the business, right? The first thing when an entrepreneur gets an idea is he's looking for a co-founder. Okay, so how should he go about structuring the relationship with the co-founder? How should he structure the business itself? Should it be a partnership? Okay, or should it be a company? How should he go about incorporating it?
Okay.
Okay, what are the licenses that are required?
Okay.
Okay, should he opt? In which way will tax be more efficiently applicable to them? If there's a tech startup which is giving software, what registration is beneficial for them? How should he go for a service tax regime or should he go for a VAT regime? Okay. These are some questions that are there at the early stages. Okay, now entrepreneurs haven't had access to great legal services. It's very difficult to find a trustworthy lawyer who can do this at an affordable cost and within a very tight time frame.
Yeah, especially when we have discussed that it takes quite some time before a law graduate or a lawyer acquires these skills to cater to these lawyers.
Yes. So the top law firms provide you such services, but at a very high cost, similar services. But it's very difficult to find someone who's reliable and who can do that otherwise. And it will help if entrepreneurs have such kind of knowledge, it will help them in dealing effectively with professionals, in being able to identify who's a good professional who can provide them such services. A lot of times incorporation related services are provided by CAs. Okay. And lawyers can also provide them. But it just so happens that CAs are providing this. Okay. And an entrepreneur wants to ascertain, okay, should I go for this with this person or should I choose services from somebody else? So knowing things yourself actually helps you in managing the overall process much better. Then once you've started your business, there's an entire issue about hiring, creating the right incentives and ESOP plans, employment agreements. Okay, so again, there's a huge problem there because what kind of incentives can be offered to employees? How do you make an ESOP plan work?
Okay.
The next issue then becomes, after that, it would be about intellectual property, how to prevent your employees from stealing away your intellectual property.
Yeah, especially for technology entrepreneurs. I mean, of course, it involves everyone, but especially the technology-related entrepreneurs, this is their biggest worry.
Yes.
We are inviting someone to be part of the team, either as a co-founder or as an employee. But how do we ensure that 2 months or 1 year down the line, that person will not steal away the code or the concept and will not start something?
Exactly. So this was a big issue with Steve Jobs when Bill Gates actually started.
Yeah, your favorite person.
Right. So Steve Jobs had a huge issue with Bill Gates when he had started offering the Windows and he had taken the graphical user interface of Apple.
Right.
Okay, and he had a big issue with Google when Android had taken a very similar design to the iOS interface in their Android operating system. So yes, these are key IP issues, and for tech startups they're very important. Of course, these were business competitors in a way, or operating in different business areas, but a startup faces this risk at a greater level when there's an employee involved. Okay, so Microsoft will hate it if a key employee goes away to Apple, and leaves all the secrets there. Or how can you prevent your employees from taking away an entire team, right? Or working with your clients.
True.
When they start out on their own.
There's a movie on this, no? Some rocket sim.
Rocket sim, yeah.
I think people will relate to that can happen to anyone.
Yeah. So this is the hiring process, and then going forward, a business wants capital to expand, capital to start, of course, and capital to expand. So if it wants to raise investment, take a loan. Okay, how do you go about negotiating these agreements? What are the drivers?
Because what happens? See, I have been advising startups for quite a long time.
Right.
And
on the business side.
Yes. And you have been interacting with the startup and SME world also. Almost 95% of the time, I see a person is ready to sell off his business, his idea, just to get a funding.
Yes.
And I have a brilliant idea. I want to kickstart it. No matter where I get the money from, how I get the money from, at that point of time, I do not care about this tool called term sheet.
Yes.
And I do not care about negotiating much of my rights.
This happened with the Red Bus founders.
Okay. So these are the things, but people don't think about it. At that time, people are only concerned that I want some funding and I want to start building my product or start offering the services. But there are side effects to it that people realize later on. Can you expound more on this, please?
So this is people tend to think that money is all that matters, and negotiation is not important, or as long as they're getting the money. But and there's a complete lack of skill sets on how to go about negotiating investment agreements. But it is actually possible to negotiate an investment agreement and such that your interest is protected. You have enough operational freedom. You don't have to actually sell your soul or sell your entire business to the investors' whims and fancies.
It becomes one and the same, soul and business.
True.
Yes, it does.
So there is enough dearth of good ideas for the venture capital or private equity industry as well to fund.
For anyone, it happens even in families or even amongst friends. See, in many places I have come across where one person wanted to start the business, or some other friend said that, okay, I have got the money, you have got the idea. Let me put in the money, okay, and I'll take over 60 or 70% of the stakes.
True.
Or someone's uncle or brother-in-law will put in the money. And at that point of time, that person doesn't bother to care much about either the paperwork or to decide that, okay, this person is just putting in money, but that doesn't mean that that person has to have the majority of the shares or the stakes.
So control-related issues, how much stakes to give them, all these issues are not usually, entrepreneurs do not negotiate a lot on these, but there is tremendous scope to go ahead with that. This happened to the Redbus founders because at the time they exited, the Redbus founders had much less than 20% of the entire shareholding of the company. Okay. A company they founded. Okay. And this was because their first 2 rounds of their investment agreements, they would not hire a lawyer and they did not negotiate actively either. Okay. And the outcome could have been very different had they done that. Because a lot of times you'll see that investors will give you a very tightly worded draft which is completely favoring the investor. And they know that if there's a smart entrepreneur, they will negotiate, they will be willing to give away some points.
Right.
Okay, this is already known by the investor. But he's just banking on the fact that if someone doesn't negotiate, what's wrong? It's good for us.
Of course it is good for them.
Yes. So those are the things we are focusing on. How do you negotiate an investment agreement, a term sheet, or how do you go about raising a loan? What are the legal requirements? What is the bank going to insist on? When you're giving, what is the implication of creating a security? When you're giving a mortgage. Okay. So those kind of issues are there. Then, of course, now if you have a tech startup or any business has a web presence today. So how does law affect that? What are the kinds of privacy policies or terms of service you need? Okay, how do outsourcing agreements work? So there is when a business is expanding, it's thinking about fundraising, marketing related issues. So again, how do marketing agreements or distribution agreements work? These are the issues we are dealing with there. Intellectual property is there across the table. So across the entire journey, you're looking for ways to protect and enforce your intellectual property rights. And this is not just conceptual. We are actually giving tools to entrepreneurs to use. So if you actually find out that an intellectual property infringement is happening, somebody is giving up, selling products by your name, we're actually telling them how to enforce your rights. We're giving them techniques to monetize. So we're telling them how licensing works. What a license agreement would look like, and how they can use it to actually, even open source models. For example, how can a company which is working on open source technology generate revenue? So we've actually explained those concepts, which gives entirely new ideas to entrepreneurs.
Alright. What about government compliances?
Of course, yeah. So
and labor laws.
Labor laws are a huge issue once you start hiring, and you've got more than 10 employees or something.
Yeah, because let me just tell everyone that people usually think that an HR person will come on board and will take care of all your labor laws issues. But sadly, even these issues are not being taken care in the colleges itself. So I have interacted
in the colleges?
Yeah, see, in HR, it's an MBA student, right? Or an HR professional will be there. But they don't know, once again, the practicals or the basics. If you will ask any HR person, majority of them will not know it. Or how to go and do a proper search of a state-wise labor laws of a particular state. It's very difficult to find someone, and it's very rare also. Usually, it once again comes with experience, like you said. People learn these things from after some time, when they have interacted in the industry. But on an initial level, no one would know these things.
So labor law compliance requirements and tax compliances, business law licenses, other business licenses, these are the things that entrepreneurs have faced lots of issues with. And usually the way is that, and when the company has started becoming successful, these things come back and hit you.
Okay.
Like Sucam, the major inverter company, was faced with a huge tax notice many years after it started operations. Okay? And because entrepreneurs do not know about these kind of compliance requirements, they're either overcharged, or when they face problems, they hire consultants at a very expensive rate. Sometimes, there is a lot of corruption which has been thriving for this reason in the country.
That's true.
So what we've done is simplify labor laws in a great way.
Okay.
It becomes very easy and intuitive for someone to understand what to do. And government procurement is something that is again a unique thing, because government is the biggest spender in the economy, and it has made special reservations for startups. For smaller businesses too. It gives them certain concessions to sell products and services to the government. And how to take benefits of these concessions is something that entrepreneurs can really utilize to their advantage. And that's what we're teaching. We're teaching them the rules that are there. They need to follow these rules, otherwise they cannot take the benefit.
Right.
So we're teaching them these rules, and the concessions that are available. We're telling them what these are.
Okay.
Those kind of issues.
So one very important thing, it's almost funny actually, because the very same things for which we are preparing the law students for, we are teaching and we are preparing them so that they can cater to the SME and entrepreneurial world.
Yes.
And the very same things the entrepreneurs and the SMEs and business owners will learn.
Yes.
So in a way, are we taking away the jobs from
lawyers and law students?
From law students, are we?
No, in fact, what we've seen is that different people take away different things from the course. So while a lawyer or a law student will actually do all the work, the reason an entrepreneur wants to know that is not to not give the work to a lawyer, but to be able to manage and control it better, control the entire process better, and to be able to take a decision about his organization.
Okay.
So a lot of times a lawyer will not be able to help you with a strategic decision you're facing.
Yeah, because you know your business best.
You know your business best. So once you've actually taken certain decisions, after that you can get the inputs from your lawyer. You can ask your lawyer to draft the contract, but you need to decide what kind of contract you want, right?
Exactly.
You will not have a lawyer who will say that, okay, this is how your business should be conducted, and these are the agreements.
True.
So that's why it's important for entrepreneurs.
So we are bringing both of them on the same platform so that they can talk to each other in the same language.
True. That's exactly what we're doing.
Right, because otherwise when a lawyer starts talking, no one can understand except for him. It's like a doctor's handwriting. No one else can understand it.
So this is an interesting point you brought up, because when a lawyer is working in a big law firm and he has a corporate client, right? So when he gets questions, it will be from the legal department of that firm. So the person on the other side is either a lawyer or has very high legal skills. He may be the CFO or that kind of person. So he's speaking in a technical language to the lawyer, which he understands. Okay. But this is not happening when an entrepreneur goes to a lawyer. Right. An entrepreneur will speak in general language, and the lawyer will have to simplify everything for him. Okay, so that sort of creates a big gap. And here we're creating a meeting point through this course, because an entrepreneur understands what are his alternatives, and a lawyer understands what entrepreneurs are looking at and is able to evaluate how to serve those requirements.
Okay. Now comes the $1 million question, which Mr. Abhishek Jain from Agartala has asked me.
Yes.
Okay. He's saying there's so many courses on entrepreneurship. So many courses. Even we have studied a lot of courses before we built this one. Why this one? What makes it stand apart from the rest?
So there are all the courses that are there on entrepreneurship. They are focusing on the core business aspects, okay, management, marketing, different kinds of skill sets required for entrepreneurship. But the focus on the legal section is absolutely minimal, right? So, and a lot of the decisions that entrepreneur is making, apart from his core technical skills, a lot of the decisions that he makes are facilitated by his understanding of law and strategy. Okay, so you want to hire someone. So an entrepreneurship course might either give you theory, or it might teach you, okay, what can you pay an initial hire, 20,000, 30,000? How does it link to your cash flow? But how do you make that deal work? What's the agreement that you have? Okay, and if you're actually offering him incentives, how do you operationalize them? Because you can't say I'm offering you this and not have the right paperwork.
Right.
An employee will not be convinced, and you will not be able to live up to your promise.
True.
Okay, so it's not that we're teaching them how to do the paperwork, we're teaching them a lot about how the operations work themselves. So then an entrepreneur can know, okay, I need a lawyer to get this thing done. I need an accountant for this. I need a company secretary for this. Or I know the basics of this and I will just ask somebody to get this done for me. Okay. Otherwise, he will be quite lost.
Okay.
So in an entrepreneurship course, what you're just learning is, okay, how can you grow your idea? Okay, which ideas? How do you write a business plan? Those are like of rage amongst all the tech, in all the tech fests and MBA college fests.
Telling you about what are different business structures you can choose, but
not teaching how to.
Not teaching, right? Not teaching them how to operationalize. Not teaching them that okay, if you choose this particular business structure, but you need to keep in mind your 2 years or 5 years, business strategies. What your goals are.
Yeah. So there would be something which could teach you email marketing, okay? But there will not be a course which will tell you how your terms of service and privacy policy should look like.
Right.
And a lot of people think they can get it off Google, but the problem with that is that different websites perform different functions on the internet.
Yes, and I want everyone to try this. Anything that you thought that you do not need to learn because you can find it on Google, please try and Google it.
Yeah.
Please try and Google it and then see how useful is the result that you get from Google.
And I think they can compare it with the free demo that we provide of the course.
Yes,
so
of course.
They could see what they're learning the course looks like, and they can compare that to the information they find on the internet. In terms of how reliable it is, okay, and how updated it is, how clearly they are able to understand and assimilate it.
Sure.
Whether they have a takeaway, whether they can use it for their own business in future.
Sure.
It could be a simple subject as co-founder agreements. If you look at it on Google, you will find results from everywhere, different countries, and it will be written in a very
different way. It's like an employment contract.
Yeah.
See, everyone drafts a particular agreement or contract based on their business strategies. No one can just copy it and then change the names and think of using it as the same. Because you can see the text there, but you cannot see the thought process of the person there.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not able to build your own thought process with your business strategies and then convert it into a paperwork, then it does not make sense. It's not aligned and it's not of any use to your business. So yes, for namesake you may have those paperwork, but are those really relevant to your business? They're not.
And if you take a document which works in US but not in India, there is no point of having that.
Different industries, different cycles of business. A startup may have a completely different level of agreement terms to an established ones. And that's what a person needs to understand.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So an employment agreement for a startup company will be very different from an employment agreement of of an MNC or of an established company. If I take up the employment agreement of Tata or Wipro from online, from Google, I cannot
if
use
they provide it.
I
don't think they provide it.
They don't, but if they provide it, if you actually manage to get something from online, then you cannot adopt the same one for your startup as well, because the business is at a completely different level, and that is something that you need to learn as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's there. Anything else that Abhika you would like to?
So yes, I was just thinking deeper about this question on the other entrepreneurship courses, right? So let's think about this. You want to decide how to target the US market.
Right.
So what will you do? From India, you can set up a company in US. You'll have to comply with certain Indian laws to do that. Or you want to decide you want to export your goods, your products. Okay, maybe you don't have a software, but you have a real physical product which you want to export. So how do you go about that? Okay, that will not be taught in an entrepreneurship course.
Right.
So that's the kind of stuff we do.
Okay. And plus, there's also lots of one-to-one guidance that I have seen happening.
Yes.
Same thing that happens with other legal experts. Even for this one, our entrepreneurs who are either starting their business or who have already started their business, they keep asking us a lot of operational questions.
Pertaining to their business.
Exactly.
Yes, we've seen that a lot. Yeah.
A lot of questions on a daily basis comes from their operational issues.
Yes.
And even if they are not directly relevant to the course, I see that a lot of guidance has been provided from our side.
And this is you'll see a lot of discussion threads on the discussion forum that we have for the students of our course. So we see a lot more interaction than we've known otherwise. In a formal classroom setup, you just have the teacher teaching, and the depth in which you can go on with respect to doubts. You have faculty discussion hours and all, but here there's nothing like that. People just go anytime onto the discussion forum, post a question. They write to us or they call us. So it creates an entirely different level of engagement.
Yeah,
More people
at the trust level that is developed because I see people now counting on the faculty that okay, even if this question is out of the course context and if I approach them, if I post it there, not only the faculty will provide answer to it, but if an entrepreneur is looking for investment, okay, and it's an investment related question, we have investment bankers there. We have got other entrepreneurs. We have got lawyers who are working right now. Everyone provides a feedback based on their own experiences. So it's not just the faculty who is bringing in the
a lot of learning is happening from peers.
Exactly, that makes a lot of difference. And at any level, if this is something that goes out of our horizon, then I have seen we have brought in external faculties and experts to interact with those.
We've done that with respect to queries on patent law, investment law, and securities. And we keep doing that whenever required.
Yeah, it's gonna keep happening more.
Yeah.
Great then. Those are actually the main concern of an entrepreneur.
Okay.
If there's anything more, I'm sure I'll keep getting more questions and I'll keep routing them through you.
Sure.
But for now, this is it. Thanks, Abhiran.
Thanks, Pallavi. Thanks everyone for attending.
Yes, thank you everyone for attending.
And if you have any questions, you can once again reach out to Pallavi at
95826300056, my phone number.
Or email her at pallavi@ipleaders.in.
Yeah, it's like Indian Idol. Please vote for me. Please call me. Bye guys. Have a great weekend.
See you guys. Have a great weekend.